everyone, Screaming Geek Me here. I am Jerry the Geek, and today we are going to do a year in review. Basically, we're just going to talk about numbers, so what we picked up throughout the entire year, as far as comparing month to month, grand total, buying habits as far as the different sellers where I bought a lot of stuff. Then we'll go into talking about my favorite pickups of the year. And that includes overall as far as not what was just released this year. Because there's some stuff that came out in years past that I just finally picked up that I really like. So I'm going to include just, my personal favorites that I've got this year. But before we get into that, if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, if you like home theater, movies in general, check out my other videos on my channel because I do these different discussions. I do collection updates every month. I do monthly watches, unboxings, and reviews. Check that stuff out. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and always comment below. Let me know what you think. So let's dive into the year-end review for 2024. It's been a really good year. I've got a lot this year. And we'll just talk about some numbers, and we'll go in and talk about my favorite pickups for the year. I got a nice couple big stacks here that I really want to show what I picked up throughout the year. So let's start off with some numbers as far as what I've bought through the entire year. As far as the 4Ks, got 127 new titles. Blu-rays, I got 57. And DVDs, I bought 11 DVDs this year. I still buy those once in a while, sometimes TV shows, or if they haven't been put on Blu-ray or, anything like that. If I don't need it in high definition, sometimes I'll buy some of that stuff on DVD, that's fine. So in total, I've added 202 titles to my collection this year. I actually forgot to jot down my actual total. It's getting up there. I can't remember exactly how many it is. Maybe I'll pop it up there on the screen as I'm editing. I forgot to write it down. But it's spent a total of $4,568.94 for the entire year. That's a lot. Looking at the history throughout the year, November was the biggest month. I had a lot of big hits there. December was definitely down. I just did a collection update there you could check out. My lowest month was back in May. June was kind of low. There's a big fluctuation from month to month. Definitely since I've, been doing this, as far as keeping track of numbers, I can kind of hold myself accountable. I was like, man, I'm spending a lot. I need to start, I can see what I'm spending. I need to cut back. So it is really helpful to do that. And I would suggest that if you're buying a lot of movies, keep track of it month to month. It really helps you out to see what you're spending. Now, that being said, let's talk about, where I buy them. Actually, I got a spreadsheet here. Definitely light printing, I'm about out of ink. Break down all the different sellers and each month what I'm getting. So for the total of 2024, I bought the most from eBay. I bought a total of 33 titles from eBay, 30 from Amazon. Grub is another big one. I've had 31 from them. Amazon has been the most consistent. I only missed 1 month all throughout the entire year, did not order anything from Amazon. Other than that, I ordered something through Amazon every month, except for May. Low ones are Arrow. I've only ordered a couple straight from Arrow. Zavi, I only got one from Zavi. Barnes & Noble, I've ordered 3. I don't do a lot of business with them. Only if I can't find something, anywhere else. The prices is way too high. 11 through Diabolic. Shop Factory, I got 12 through them, through a couple sales they've had. Walmart, I divide up as far as in-store and online. In-store purchases, I've only got 8 from Walmart, 9 online. Didn't get anything from Grindhouse this year. I've never ordered through Orbit yet. I look at their stuff. I haven't found anything where they have and no one else does, so I haven't ordered through Orbit yet. Hamilton Book is another big one. I only ordered a couple times for them. A couple through Second Sight. Kino Lorber, I've got 9 through them. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, but it's nice to kind of see where I'm buying from, where my money goes. Even Turbine, I'm getting more from them. I've got 7 from them this year. So other numbers from this year, definitely talk about the movies I've watched. Since I've been doing a video every month talking about the movies I've watched. So for the year, I mean, I've had some pretty good months. I did have 3 months that were low because I was binge watching a Supernatural TV show. So like May, I only did 4 movies. June, I only did 5 movies. September, I only did 4. But overall, I watched 308 movies for the entire year. Of course, the biggest was the month of December where I did 65. Another big month was August. I did 42. Other ones are March. I did 35. I did 26 in January, 26 in February. So a pretty good year overall. So I will continue every month to talk about what I watch every month. I find it a good way to talk about movies that are not mainstream, that maybe you're not thinking of. Get recommendations, little mini reviews thrown in there. So I will continue to do that so it'll be interesting to see how many I watch through the next year. But also I still want to get back into doing Supernatural and some other TV shows. So I have to wait and see how I juggle all that. Now that we've got all the numbers out of the way, what I picked up and where I spent the money, let's talk about my favorite pickups from the year. And let's start off with one. When this came out on 4K, it came out from Arrow a long time ago. It was on my wish list, but I just never got around to it. I just kept buying these other ones and kept putting this one on a back burner. And then finally, Turbine put out their own version of it. And we're talking about Pitch Black. I love this movie. It looks freaking phenomenal. I did a review of this you could check out. Since I didn't get the Arrow, I don't know how this compares with the Arrow, but yeah, this is a freaking phenomenal 4K here. Next up, we've got Silent Night, Deadly Night on 4K. Again, this is one of my favorites because, I grew up with this movie on VHS. Had the DVD, had the Blu-ray, so the 4K finally got. Glad I did because it was miles ahead of the Blu-ray. So yeah, definitely an all-time favorite of mine. Next up, we've got another all-time favorite, Galaxy Quest. This is a 4K steelbook from a Walmart exclusive. Actually had a little magnetic sheet that came with it. I never had this on Blu-ray. I had a DVD. I've watched it a million times, so I was glad to finally upgrade to something better. So yeah, Galaxy Quest, all-time favorite. Next up is a 4K of Congo from Vinegar Syndrome. This is definitely one of the best 4Ks of this year. Definitely can't wait to put my top 10 list together. This might be in it. Next up is another Vinegar Syndrome title, The Keep. Another great classic horror movie I grew up with. Glad to finally have it on 4K. Next up, we've got a classic, Convoy with Chris Christopherson. Another movie I grew up with. I've not watched since VHS, so I was glad to get the 4K of this from Imprint. Looks freaking phenomenal. So glad to have this. Next up is another favorite of mine from James Cameron, The Abyss. This never got a Blu-ray release. It had a crappy DVD for years. I'm glad to finally have this on 4K. Freaking love this. Next up is another favorite from Cameron. But of course, this isn't everyone's favorite as far as 4Ks go. True Lies. Again, this had mixed reviews. This is the best this has ever looked. Was it perfect? The AI kind of screwed up some stuff, but overall, this, I'll never watch the Blu-ray again. This is a really good 4K here. It, had its shortcomings, but yeah, this is the best way to watch it in my opinion. Next up, we've got Renfield on 4K. This comes from Turbine. Great move. This did not get a US release on 4K, just a Blu-ray, so I was glad Turbine put this out and I snagged it. Next up, we've got another childhood classic, basket case. This comes from Arrow. This is a 4K. Oh, this is freaking awesome. Also, I did a review of this. It's got a kind of velvety texture to it that's really cool. So if you're a fan of this movie, I would recommend getting this. This is really good. Next up, we've got The Crow with Brandon Lee. You know, this is the Walmart exclusive steelbook. Amazon had their own. I love both of them. I preferred this one because it was more classic. I had the bird on it. The classic look, I preferred it over the Amazon. And this was a pain to get because it was sold out quickly. And luckily, Walmart's pretty decent about getting their stuff back in stock. So if you ever come across something that's out of stock, give it some time. They should get them back in stock. Next up is not a movie. It's a documentary from Vinegar Syndrome. Never Surrender. This is a documentary about Galaxy Quest. If you're a fan of that movie, I highly recommend getting this. I did a review of this as a Blu-ray. I mean, just a thought, everything that went involved, the design of the slipcover, they did a freaking awesome job with this. If you want this in the limited edition slipcover, this is going to cost you a lot, but you can get it. But if you're a fan of the movie, get this. This is freaking awesome. Next up is another one that's not a movie. It's a concert. Hans Zimmer live in Prague. If you love his stuff, you have to get this. I actually did a review of this. This is freaking awesome. The music, I mean, you just want to crank it up, and I love it. Hans Zimmer kicks ass. I mean, this is a great concert here. Next up is a 4K. It's probably not on a lot of people's radar. Killer Condom. This comes from Vinegar Syndrome. This is definitely, I couldn't believe they made a movie of it. You know, I had the graphic novel comic book back in the day, and it was so freaking raunchy. And just like, I had to get the movie to see what it was, and it was actually good. I mean, it sounds stupid, but if you're looking for something cheesy and you're open-minded, you know, check this out. It is a pretty good 4K here. It's a fun movie overall. Next up, we've got the 4K of Orca, the killer whale. You know, I got this from Zavi. Really good steelbook here. They do have a standard version available. And also, Kino Lorber is actually putting one out. I may double dip to see how that will compare with the Studio Canal here. Next up is one we have all been pining for, and this was hard to get the steelbook of. The Terminator on 4K. This was a pain in the ass to get because they sold out so damn quick. I had issues with Grub. Luckily, you know, they fixed it. You know, Grub stepped up to the plate and took care of me. You know, their customer service was shitty at the time, but they stepped it up again. They took care of me. I was glad to finally get this. Next up is a pair of Jim Henson classics. We've got the Dark Crystal. This is a steelbook Walmart exclusive. And the other one is Labyrinth. It's, again, a Walmart exclusive steelbook. Very cool. Now, next up is a limited edition box set from Shout Factory of Labyrinth. I actually did an unboxing of this, even did a review. If you want to check out everything involved, this is a very cool set. This is definitely one of my highlights of the year. Glad to have this in the collection. This is, you know, not one of my favorite movies, but my wife, she loves this. This is probably the favorite movie of all time. Next up, we have the other limited edition box set from Shout that came out, the Dark Crystal. That's another one I had to get. They were expensive, but I did get the cheaper box. I didn't need all the other stuff. It has a crystal shard in it. Actually, I did an unboxing of this as well. You could check out. So yeah, this and the Labyrinth set are, the highlights of my collection this year. I'm so glad to add those. Next up is a Blu-ray. Schlock. The reason I put this in my favorites of this year is this is an all-time classic film. I grew up with it on VHS. It's such a campy parody of old monster movies. And I've had the DVD for ages. And I've always wanted to upgrade it. And Arrow put this out some time ago, and I just never got it. And I finally upgraded to Blu-ray. So that's why I include that with my favorites of the year, because I love this movie. I laugh my freaking ass off every time I watch this. And it is definitely one of my favorites in my entire collection. Next up is a recent pickup from Turbine, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. It's a media book. I haven't watched this yet, so definitely look out for a review of that coming in the next few days. You know, Vinegar Syndrome put one out a long time ago. I never got around to picking it up. I like Vinegar Syndrome. So when Turbine came out with theirs, I was like, oh, what the hell, let's get something from them. So definitely looking forward to, checking that out. Next up, we've got a big, beefy, chunky, whatever you want to call it, big-ass freaking box set from Second Sight of a classic 80s movie, The Hitcher. We've been drooling about this. Second Sight's been teasing us about this for about 2 years. Look how big this thing is. I did an unboxing of this. I did a review of this. If you're a fan of the movie, this is highly recommended. Warner Brothers put their own out if you want a cheaper version. As far as I know, it's the same transfer. But yeah, definitely glad to finally have this in my collection. It's a beast. Next up is another classic that everybody's been wanting, Trick or Treat. Enough that when this went live, Synapse website freaking crashed. They were not equipped for it. Their servers weren't up for the task. They freaking crashed, seconds. I mean, it didn't even come up. So I had to go over to Diabolic and order through them, and everyone was having issues. And they had 3 different covers available, and all 3 of them sold out. And they do have a standard version coming out if you missed this, but it's another movie I grew up with. I'm glad to finally have this on 4K. Next up is a pair of movies that came out from Arrow that came out at the beginning of the year. We're talking about Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. I bought these separately. Awesome box sets here from Arrow. I freaking love these. They did a freaking phenomenal job. I'm glad to finally have Conan in my collection. And the next one up is a great classic everybody was wanting. And it had a US release and a UK release. And I spent the extra money to go for the UK, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's an old, the actual slip case here, hard, rigid slip case. Has a VHS design to it. Has an old school VHS Warner Brothers logo. And, these are actually removable stickers. I left those on there. And then for the steelbook itself, I want the original poster art. So, yeah, again, between the US and the UK, I really wanted the UK, and it cost me an arm and a leg to get this. So glad I did. This is a freaking awesome edition. And last but not least, for the highlight of the year, we're going to talk about Paramount Scares Volume 2. I had Volume 2 I picked up at the beginning of the year. And of course, with the price-wise, I couldn't get these when they came out. I waited for the sales. So I waited a couple months and picked this up on a really good sale. So glad to finally have that. I'm hoping they continue those Paramount Scares coming in the future. So that pretty much does it for my year-end review. Of everything from 2024, talking about, numbers-wise, what I spent for the year, where I spent it at, how many movies, and also going over my favorites that I've picked up this year. So please comment below, let me know what you think about everything here. What are some of your favorite pickups from the 2024? So check out my other videos on my channel, like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, because I do have a couple more videos coming up fairly soon. I'm going to do a top 10 steelbook from 2024, and also my top 10 4Ks from 2024. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. That should be coming within the next couple of days. And we'll see you then. Geek out.